The truth was really just blossoming. And the Georgian people reacted very well to the preaching work. Satan could see the growth, and he had a ready tool to try to stop it. Police assisted the mob to attack conventions, and there were many, many, many attacks during that time period. You could not even have a convention. It was too dangerous. Pretty well every weekend, you had a mob attack on a congregation. Children as young as 7 were attacked and beaten. It was just relentless.
You know, when they attacked our congregation, it was a terrifying moment. And I remember you had blood all over your face.
They dragged me into a crowd and the women were pulling my hair. I had long hair then. I remember one tall man took off his belt and began hitting us on the head. I asked Jehovah, how do I escape this?
In that moment, you get this feeling of fear that you might not make it out alive.
We could never tell the brothers, don't worry, in the next couple of years it'll be over. We could not. No. It was hard for them, but they simply continued. It did not deter them at all. Our brothers behaved exceedingly well. A nationwide witness was being given. And so Satan's tactic to crush the brothers did the opposite.
People began to have so many questions about why we were being attacked. And of course, we were able to use this as an opportunity to share our beliefs and give a witness. When Jehovah stands by you, along with Jesus and all their armies, no opposer will be able to stop the work that Jehovah and Jesus are directing.
And then all of a sudden, there was a change in government, and the new government did not allow the mob attacks. They took the ringleaders and arrested them. But that's not a final solution, because another government could take another position. The ultimate goal was to get some decisions from the European court that would have a lasting effect in the country.
So we've just been watching a clip from a video that gets shown on the Saturday afternoon of the convention program. The theme of the video, how the good news is bearing fruit and increasing in all the world. I found this particular footage and story, well, it was very troubling, quite frankly, to see the scale of persecution that Jehovah's Witnesses experienced in Georgia at the start of the 21st century. Always distressing to see violence and beatings in the name of religion, including we saw there children as young as 7 reportedly being attacked. I've spoken out against violence and persecution against Jehovah's Witnesses for as long as I've been doing this work. I know some of you may not expect me to speak out against it, but I just personally very firmly believe in human rights and in our freedom to believe whatever we want to believe, whether it makes sense or not. I do, however, have to point out, as I routinely need to in these conventions, that this footage is not being put out in a balanced way that shows that there is a larger problem when it comes to religious persecution. In other words, Jehovah's Witnesses aren't shedding light on other religious minorities that get persecuted. If you were to watch only these convention videos and only Jehovah's Witness videos, you would think that Jehovah's Witnesses are the only religious minority in the world that are being persecuted. The reality is very, very different, as anyone who keeps an eye on what's going on in China with the Uyghur population will know. So I just have to make that point again, it seems. And I also think that there's some interesting and rather telling elements to this particular clip. Firstly, when you look at the fanaticism of the Christian Orthodox mob that was working in tandem, it seems, with the police to attack Jehovah's Witnesses and burn down their places of worship and cause all sorts of mayhem and violence, doesn't this just show the end game of religious fanaticism? What we're seeing here are normal people who probably have very well-rounded morals and values, but when you add religious fanaticism into the mix, they can be made to do some terrible, terrible things. And that's, ironically, precisely the problem that we have with Jehovah's Witnesses, a group that persuades its followers to die rather than receive blood transfusions, persuades parents that it's better for their child to die refusing a blood transfusion, persuades parents that it's better to pretend that their children don't exist if when they grow up they end up getting removed from the congregation and shunned. So I wish Jehovah's Witnesses could just see the flip side on this and understand that the same sort of fanaticism that drives religions against them, or that stirs up this kind of religious hatred against them, it's the exact same fanaticism, it's the exact same capacity to take things to extremes that is a cancer at the heart of the organization that just isn't going away. And isn't it interesting as well, when reviewing this clip, again, just taking a step back and looking at it from all angles, isn't it interesting that it's Satan's world that's responsible for the persecution, and it's also Satan's world that's responsible for the cure? So it's a change of government, and the government ends up throwing these religious fanatics behind bars. And you heard there the spokesperson for the organization saying, well, of course, a new government could come in and release them, and then we'd be back to square one. So we're going to appeal to the European Court for Human Rights. Well, that is an instrument of Satan's world. I mean, the very fact that you have a court that you can appeal to, I would suggest, shed serious doubt on your claim that the whole world is under the control of Satan. If Satan is controlling all of this persecution, he's doing a really bad job. And it all reminds me of a song I wrote some time ago, thumbnail here if you want to listen to it. It's kind of a humorous song. It's called Good Things, Bad Things. And I point out this very issue, the fact that when bad things happen to Jehovah's Witnesses, they point to it as evidence that they are God's one true organization. And then when good things happen, this too is evidence that they're God's one true organization. And really, laughable though it is just worth stressing that you cannot have it both ways. Either the world is out to get Jehovah's Witnesses, or the world is coming to the rescue of Jehovah's Witnesses through its political instruments. Which is it?